good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Phil John's VIP on a Saturday night. I want to thank you for stopping in to see what I'm talking about, as you always do. Tonight, I am speaking to someone that I've known for a very, very, very long time. Finally, I get a chance to speak from someone in the Rella family. The Rella family is a family of just gifted and talented people, and I love them dearly. Not very often do I say that I connect with people right away, and the Rella family is just awesome. I just love them to death. And tonight, Concetta Rose will be joining me in the VIP. And it's been a long time since we've seen each other, so we're going to catch up. We're going to talk about what she's doing now. We're going to talk about what's coming up. We're going to talk about the vision. We're going to talk about the blessings and all the other stuff in between. So without further ado, I'm going to get it started, and I'm going to bring in the incomparable and the super talented Concetta Rose. Let's bring her in. Okay, wait a minute. Let me see. Got you. I had a little glitch there, but Concetta, please tell me you coming through tonight. Yeah.
Bill John, I'm so happy to see you.
Yo, it is so good.
Oh, I want to hug you, man.
I know. You look great.
You look great. You look fantastic. What lighting you got over there? Because mine needs some work, clearly.
This is my ring light.
Oh, man. I'm seeing your face, man. I can't, I am done. I am done. We can end it right here. I'd be on a high note.
I know. Yo, thank you. I was like, I gotta get you into this year. Yeah. I want to connect. I want to talk to you. You know, I think about you guys often. I think about Rich often, and I pray that all is well and productive with you.
Thank you. It is. I'm happy to say it is. Yeah, my brother is doing well himself. I mean, he's always been doing well, as you know, right. But he's just growing constantly and continuing, and it's awesome to have an influence like that in my personal life.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I'm trying to follow in the footsteps, as it were, and just keep on trucking, man.
I was a judge at the Rosewood Island Film Festival, and I saw that you wrote a film called How to Order Happiness.
Well, I wrote it with a partner.
Yeah. Oh, you co-wrote it?
Yes,
awesome.
I did. I co-wrote it with my partner, Micah Spare. He's a fantastic filmmaker, and I enjoy writing with him immensely. And that was kind of his brainchild, and we wrote it together in Chicago. And we got this A team of Chicago actors to come in, improv based, which I don't want to work with anybody else, man. They just come in and they say yes and they add to it, and it was awesome. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. So
I had to tell you, I viewed the film, and I didn't know your name was attached until toward the end.
Oh, really?
I didn't know.
Oh, that's great.
So when I watched, and I was like, this is a really good film. And then when I saw your name attached, I was like,
that's so great.
I was like, this is a good project. And to say that it was improv based, it was really good.
Yeah, those actors, we do a show called Tony and Tina's Wedding. I've been involved in that for almost 20 years now.
Yes.
Yeah, and from that, it was the Chicago cast. So we brought them all in to perform for us in a lot of those party scenes and things like that. Micah was the director as well, and he would give them little whispers in their ear, and they would just go, and we would just film and just catch all these, incredible moments that were really largely improv. So that was cool. And we had a fantastic lead actor as well. So, the scripted stuff just flowed right into that improv stuff. And that was a fun one. That was a real fun one to shoot.
Really? But I want to run it back for a minute, because I want to know, where did it all begin for you? Where did it start? Where did the acting bug hit you? Where did the love for the entertainment and creating hit you?
Oh, well, I get to say since forever. and that's a real statement. I was so lucky to grow up in a family of artists and musicians, all different kinds of artists, visual artists, like I said, musicians, vocalists, singers, dancers, actors, all of it, and playwrights as well. And just growing up that way, just hearing that kind of dialogue constantly. Richie and I always joke that it was the family business without being, the family business. Um, so we were blessed. I was very lucky that this is, a career path I wanted to choose, as well. So I had so many people to talk to about it, and be like, this is ever happened to you?
Right.
Like anything that came up, there was somebody who had an experience or who could talk to you about it. And it was just a wealth of knowledge. And I'm so incredibly grateful for that environment.
How did you end up? I feel like you've always had the um, ability to continue to create and develop projects without getting so caught up in or jaded by the business. How were you able to do that?
Oh, thanks, man. I think I think I'd like to maybe credit the people I worked with. I started when I got serious about acting around 14, 15 years old, and my parents finally, they knew the business as well. So there was a lot of, we don't really want you to do this. We think there are better paths maybe for you. But you're a kid and you're just like, no, I see one thing and I want the one thing. And reluctantly, they let me finally take real acting classes in Manhattan, Lee Strasberg Theater Institute. And I met a long time dear friend named Childsy Arman, and she was starting her own theater company. And she said, I want to take you with me. And I went with her, and I'm so glad I did, because not only did I meet a huge network of people they work with, Labyrinth Theater Company, and I met a ton of those folks and got to be mentored by those guys at like 15 and not even knowing, my left foot from my right foot, as it were, and just hearing, these greats talk about their experiences and just be willing to share that kind of knowledge. And that really opened, and she was her focus is always to create art. She doesn't want to do a play that's already been done. She really doesn't. She sees the beauty in you as you are and wants to draw your artist out of you. And she did that with all her kids, and it was just such an inspiring environment that way. And that opens the writer's brain in me. And I was like, oh wait, I could write this stuff. I could make up character stories too, right. And I think once you start to really create from scratch, as it were, you just kind of always want to do that. And it's the like-minded people. I found my people kind of early on, and that community has just continued to grow. So yeah, I think as I'm talking this out, yeah, it's the people that helped me, stay away from that, like, I don't know, darker and nastier side of it.
Yeah, because I think once you get caught up in the business aspect, you become a little bitter,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a little disgruntled,
Well,
and a lot of that prevents people from creating the way they should create.
yeah, because then it becomes way more business heavy,
Yeah,
and it's just about, you know, it comes down to the dollar, right? So it comes down to how can I maximize, or minimize my time, maximize my wallet, how just that's the short road to it. And that is certainly without the arts, that's certainly without the emotional creativity
mm,
that you need to invest when you're participating in the arts, So I would imagine that, sticking with your folks, find those people who can help you stay grounded, as it were. I mean, it's a flighty world, right?
right, right,
But
right, right.
grounded in that mission to create and to share stories and to tell the truth. That's why we're here as artists, to paint the truth,
Yeah,
to film the truth, to write the truth. That's why we're here, right? Our truths, your
tell
truth,
the human story.
yes,
You know,
yes. And there's and how many humans are there, right? And how many stories can be told? So,
yeah,
growing up again with people who wanted to hear original stories, hear something new, it's a fascinating world to invest in, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. I always say, that's the job of the actors to kind of deliver the human experience, and it doesn't always have to look good or feel
Right.
good.
Right.
It's just what it is.
Right.
You know,
That's right.
so I feel like you've always been a person who's been kind of like a boss. That's the only
Ah!
word that comes to me, like a boss. And I feel like you've always kind of kind of propelled forward, right, and kind of created opportunities for yourself. Um, is there anything that you would like to do that you haven't done already?
Oh God, sure. Um, there's probably at least 55 things that I don't even know I haven't done yet that I would want to do. Um, yes, 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 loads of things. I would love to. I'm far from it, technical wise, but I would love to direct on film, and see how that goes. You know, I would love to. Uh, write a piece strictly, I don't know, something weird, like, oh, like last year I wrote a piece, or was it, oh, it was the beginning of this year, my goodness. In March I wrote a piece called Moving Day, and the
Right.
idea was that we filmed it in one take. So I wanted the feel of live
Mhm.
theater, where you do a play in one take technically, right?
Right.
So I wanted that feel, but I wanted to capture it on film and see how that changed the audience's perspective and the emotional investment. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Things like that. I would love to more innovative stuff, more things, you know, that may be weird, may sound really like we shouldn't try that.
Right.
Like, who wants to do one take a film? Nobody, you know.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, but I want to try it. I want to see what's out there, you know.
And that's the beauty, like the experimental stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rob King that just joined us. And you, it
Rob
was like I was just
King.
thinking, I was just going to drop his name because that was going to be a part of my next question. Because I was going to say, since we worked with Rob King,
Yes.
that's one of the reasons that we're more weird stuff. Yo, Rob, love you, man. Shout outs on everything that you're doing. You're doing some great stuff. I'm proud of you. Um, but that's what I felt like when I worked with Rich for the first time. And I was like, I felt like he was a director that I wanted to work again. I have attachment issues. So when I find that one person that like, yo, I get it. Like he knows what to give me to get the best out of me. It's like, yo, I want to take you wherever I go. I want you to go because I know you know how to bring the best. Him and Jared Seltzer, who I worked with before. Those are the two directors who I know for sure. Like when they see what I'm doing, I trust them. I trust them.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to find someone to work with that you completely trust, to know that when they say you got it, let's move on. I trust their vision and what they see when I'm working with them.
100%. Yeah, Richie's. I don't know the other gentleman you mentioned, but
Yeah.
Rich just he's always had it. Well, with me, I mean, I'm his little sister, so he knows exactly when I'm lying. You know what I mean? He's like, no,
And you
don't
both are
do it again.
Tauruses, right?
Sorry.
Are you both
Yeah.
Tauruses? Yeah.
So you know, like we're super similar in that sense. Like it's just like get
Right.
to it. What was bad?
Right.
Or
Right.
you know. And he, you know, has always been really cutthroat with me that way, but not in a way where I feel bad
Right.
about it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just trust him. I just go, no, he wouldn't say it if I was on. You know what I mean? He doesn't
Right.
believe I'm not telling the truth somehow. You know, so
Yeah.
let me.
Yeah.
You know, so people like that in your circle that, you know, you can keep coming back to and, you know, have more projects in mind, you know, to work again with each other. That's the best case scenario, you know?
It is. It is. It is. Because you trust the process
Yes.
beyond a shadow of a doubt. You completely trust the
Yeah.
process.
You're like, I
So
don't
then,
know what's going to happen, but I know we're going to have a good time.
yeah, totally, definitely, without a doubt, without a doubt. What is your process of writing and telling a story?
Ooh, okay. So it does like vary. It does vary. Oh man, I wish I knew who the poet was, but I read this great article about a poet, female poet, and she said that, and this is a great way to describe it. She said that poetry sometimes came at her like dead on, and she could write down the poem as she like heard it or saw it, you know, just write it word, you know, top to bottom, kind, you know. And she said, and sometimes it would come to her in chunks, and she would have to, you know, put the puzzle pieces together. And she said, and sometimes the poem would be way ahead of her and she'd have to run after it, catching it from the back.
Wow.
And it down to the top of it. And I feel like that's writing in a nutshell. Like sometimes it comes to you story top to bottom, you know, beginning, middle, and end, how this is going to go. And sometimes it comes to you just a scene. And then you build off the scene, you work with the characters and you kind of find your dead ends and you go back and you know, revert and stuff like that. And sometimes you get lucky and you find characters that can sustain and will tell you their story. And you just have to be like a transcription person, you know, and just write it down. So when I do get an idea for something, first thing you got to do is write it down because it will go find somebody else. Okay?
That's true. Yes.
So write it down and then sleep on it, you know, let it digest as it needs to. Sometimes it comes out fast, you know, and just, again, be there with pen and paper or however you write. And when it comes slowly, let them work themselves out. Put the two characters on the paper or on your computer or however you do it, you know, and let them talk to each other and just see what they say.
Someone once referred to it as spirit writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like you're a total vessel in those moments, you know, and you got to let that story it's waiting to come out of you. So again, it comes back to that weird old trust the process, you know.
Yeah.
It'll happen like that. Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever had a character say, I no longer belong in this story to you?
Yes. I actually, the piece I just did, that piece I was talking about, Moving Day, I actually wrote it and I went, oh my God, this is Act 3. I wrote Act 3 of a story about a family, but this is the last chapter of it. I need to write Acts 1 and 2. So that's what I'm going in reverse now. I'm writing Act 2 currently, and then I have to go and write Act 1. So they're going to be like 3 separate pieces, but all the same family in this, like, you know, lifelong timeline, as it were. But in that last one, my main character, it's her goodbye, you know. And I knew I was coming to that, but I held her off for a while, you know, and then she's there and you fall in love with her right away because she's that kind of spirit, you know. She's a patriarch and she puts people in their place and she's very funny about it and she's quick-witted and then she's got to go, you know, and it's like, oh, okay. You know, and that's when I was like, oh wait, I got to give her more to do. I got to go in reverse now.
Because she's coming through, she's vibrating through really high. Yeah.
And it was her last chapter, you know, in my mind, it was her last chapter that was coming through the strongest. So I felt like that story, like, definitely had to be told, you know, that way.
Do you think there's difficulty getting it from the page to the stage or to the film set?
Yes. I do think you find out really quickly what doesn't translate. I think a lot of writers can find that out in readings when they hear their scripts out loud for the first time, you know, or a couple times, you know. But sometimes the ideas don't work. You had this great idea for how to stage this scene, or you had this great idea for how to get the shot, and then you get there and it's just not working. You can't force it at that point, right? You have to be flexible. That's why I say I want to work all the time with improv actors, because they're always flexible. They're always like, all right, what can we do instead? And the mind is still working and problem solving creatively and all that. And so you do, flexibility, I think, is huge in creating art in general, and patience.
Yeah, because it's tough. There's like they always say it's a story that you write, it's the story that you shoot, and it's the story that you have that comes out in the editing room. So you have all these different phases of that story until, you know, and it's kind of like it just takes on a life of its own.
That's right.
You know,
that's right. And depending on what scale you're working, you know, how many hands it's being passed along through, all those different voices coming in do add layers to it, you know. Sometimes it can work against you and like change your story completely, and nobody wants that. But if it works in your favor, I think that could be an interesting process too. I haven't had that.
I'm
Everybody has
learning.
17
I'm
jobs.
learning that's the best way to do it, because one of my biggest problems is always writing a script that I can
Yeah.
shoot. It's writing something shootable,
Yeah.
you know. And sometimes if you keep it simple, you can find beautiful moments in that,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I always forget that, to be honest with you. Sometimes I get carried away in like the story that's coming out. Oh, I have to write this story, but it takes place in like the middle of a circus, and I need like 37 elephants to complete the scene. Like, well, at what point do you just kind of rein it in
Right,
and
right, right,
like tone it down and get back to the heart of it or something,
right,
or realize that we're not quite there yet, friend, and tell something from a simpler place.
right. I tell you, I was writing a short film, and I'm very descriptive when I
Mhm.
write, because I read a lot of books when I was younger, so I'm used to like setting the stage before dialogue comes in. And I had a friend of mine, a filmmaker, read it, and he was like, he asked me questions. So in my mind, I'm thinking this story is kind of going to remind me of Twilight Zone, Rod Sterling. I see it one
Mhm.
set, but then I'm not even thinking. I'm like, this is really simple. It's simple on the Twilight Zone because it's on the sound stage. But when you don't have any money,
Right.
where are you going to get snow from in June? So, where are you going? I'm like, you know what? I never thought about where am I going to get snow from. I have no idea. But those are the things you got to think about. And he was like, no, 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 get rid of this, get rid of that. And I had like a Christina Aguilera song, and he was like, no.
Oh my God. Yeah, no.
I was like,
That's
I think I
a
can.
whole
Let me
nother.
see. And I was like, but I researched how much that song might cost. He was like, no.
No,
So,
definitely not. So
so I
funny.
like I understand that about like how to just pull it in,
Yeah.
and write shootable scripts that can and again, it's just like how to order happiness for me. It was just like it was very like I loved it because it did have somewhat of that kind of a Twilight Zone kind of Alfred Hitchcock kind of overtone to it, but it was very simple, and then you got it immediately. It was just like
Yeah.
straight to the point, but it was like just anybody could have put themselves in that situation. Anybody, it universally could have put themselves in that situation. So, was there anything that you feel like you had to let go? Any part of that film where you was like, you know, I had this idea, but then I had to kind of detach myself and divorce myself from it in order to actually get it done?
Um, I think yes, but I think it happened before we got on set. I think it was when Mike and I were writing together. I think I had written like it was he was right to cut it, but I had written like I don't know, like six, no, maybe less than that, maybe like 3 or 4 pages of dialogue that was like dialogue. And you've seen the film. It doesn't fit, dialogue. The okay,
Right, right, right,
without
right,
it
right.
just doesn't fit. Dialogue is like normal speaking like this does not fit in this movie. It just doesn't work. And I had written it and I was so like I loved the scene. I loved like where it got to, where the journey continued to and all that. And he was just like, why are they talking? I don't understand why they're talking. I'm like, we need freaking dialogue in this movie and nobody's talking. And he was like, no, it's gonna be fine, trust me. And he really, to his credit, he was totally right. But he really had to like pull my teeth to get me to cut that. And then finally, I think I was like not nice about it either. I think I was like, fine.
Right.
But when we got to set, I was like, yeah, this is like we didn't need that at all. No, totally. But those things that you get precious. I get precious sometimes, especially with the writing, because you feel like, oh no, if we don't do this exactly word for word, the audience will never understand. There's no way we
Right,
can explain it any other way. But it's like with any of the art, like there's a certain amount of it you have to be willing to shed,
right,
in order to get to the good parts, the good nuggets.
yeah. And I learned during COVID not to be too married to the things that I write,
Yeah.
especially if you're trying to pitch it for network or streaming service, because people will take your stuff and get rid of 50% of
Yeah.
what you've written. And I know people who have written for even podcasts, certain like podcast narratives
Yeah.
where they're writing a script and they, the showrunner comes and they get rid of it and
Yeah.
only get to like 30% of what they wrote. It's yeah,
Brutal.
it's horrible. It's so offensive. you know.
You
So
think about the
I've
time
I've
and effort, you know.
yeah, it gets crazy, man. But it's like keep writing. Hopefully, you'll at least be able to get enough money to kind of put your vision on, and you do need someone who can kind of reel you back in as well.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And that's the benefit of having a co-writer in that you jive with in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that they can do that for you, and you can do that for them. But more so, like when it runs away from the storytelling, which is really the main goal, right? Is to tell. But I wasn't telling the same story, is what it was. It wasn't a bad story. It just wasn't the same one that we were trying to tell. So in that sense, he was right to be like, totally right to be like, this does not belong. This does not fit. Get this puzzle piece out of here. Like we're good. And it's so valuable in that sense to have a partner.
In
Sometimes
a perfect,
great by yourself,
I know.
but it's great to have a partner.
Well, in a perfect world, what would a good story for you be? If you could make the story that you want.
Like, what is the story about? Or like,
Yeah. Like,
oh,
what would
okay.
it look like for you? Like, what would be the story you would want to tell?
Oh,
If money,
I'm fine.
I'm gonna just be clear. If money wasn't an issue,
Okay, yeah.
because that's what the issue is with everybody. Is money.
Oh, well then in that case, I want to make like a sci-fi or something I have no business making.
Right.
If I can just throw money at it. No, no. I think what I have grown to really find my niche, my favorite kind of writing for myself is who I am, like where I'm from. So I'm an Italian from New York, and I'm just 100% a family person. And so writing stories about Italian Americans growing up in New York, family people, because family is not always like,
Yeah.
perfect. So just those stories to me, I love them. They're so full of heart to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm specifically Italian American, but I think that it's culturally relatable. Family life is relatable. Whether you have a good one or a bad one or none at all, it's all relatable stuff. And so ultimately, I do want to tell the most relatable, like we were saying in the beginning, most relatable stories we can, most truthful stories we can. And for me, that's always come from my own heart, and those are the ones. But I would like hire like top notch, Italian American actors. Like, well, get them all in there. You know what I mean? That's where the money goes. The talent.
Right. That's where the money will go. That and post production.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So let me ask you. I'll ask 5 questions to everyone who comes on
Okay.
to the VIP, and I just want to ask you, and you can answer them however. It'll take as long as you want to answer. So my first question is, what do you know about this industry now, opposed to what you thought it was going into it?
Okay. Okay. So what I thought it was going into it was all or nothing. All or nothing meaning if I didn't do it one certain way with success, I wasn't going anywhere. Um, and for sure, at the very least, what I've learned is that is so wrong. That is like all the way wrong. There are many avenues. There are many jobs. There are many ways to create art, to make a living creating art, to express yourself, to tell a story. There are so many different ways to do this. And the biggest takeaway for me was that I don't have to wait for anybody else to do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can start right now. I get off the phone with you, I can go start something, anything. Draw a circle on a paper. You know what I mean? Like I can do something creative tonight. And that's it though. You know what I mean? It's totally within my power.
Mm-hmm.
For better or for worse, you know, it's up to me.
Yeah, because we always think going in, we have to give it all
Yeah.
until we realize that it's all about work life balance,
Yeah.
and it's about maintaining that joy
Yes.
at the same time.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because the business can be very dark and evil.
Totally. Remember why you started.
Yeah,
Remember why you said this is the only lifestyle for me or the only path for me. You know,
yeah.
why there must have been something more substantial than, you know, I want to be famous, you know. And find that, dig down into that and hold that and take that with you. Because I, you know, for me it was always I just wanted to tell a story. You know, I wanted to tell stories, and that's true. However, I choose to do that. You know,
What advice would you give your 19-year-old self?
hang on a second. Let me think about myself at night. Wait, that was a mess. I don't want to talk to her at all. She's busy. Okay, let's let her
Right,
doing what
right, right.
I would tell her just relax. Which is like the worst thing I could have possibly have said to myself. Let me rephrase that. I would tell her just like keep breathing, dude. Like keep breathing. Um, it's it's not all gonna happen right now. It's not all gonna happen the way you expect it to. Um, and don't forget that that is the beauty of life, is that we shouldn't know what's coming next. You know, we should be hopeful. We should do our best. We should like run like hell for that bus. You know what I mean? But if we miss the bus, then it wasn't our bus. You know, that's it. And we'll wait for the next one. You know, um, so I would just tell her that I hate to say it, but you're very young. You're very young, and life is very long. It's short, but it's very long.
Right.
And there's so much time to learn things. So just enjoy learning. Enjoy learning. I think I really enjoy learning more now, as I was going to tell my age, as an older woman, older than 19, than I ever did in my youth.
Right,
Seriously,
right,
I
right.
was like the opposite. Like I don't know what's wrong with me at a young age, but it's better now. It's better to absorb things now.
What would you like your legacy to be?
Legacy. Hmm. That's tricky. That's tricky because I also have a 3-year-old daughter. So
Yeah.
for me, a lot of mommy stuff comes up when I think of legacy now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for her, for her, I would like my legacy. I would like her to just. Mm, God, I thought I was coming on Phil John's show, not Oprah's show. I do.
Yeah. Listen.
I you you didn't tell me. You were like, it'll be easy. It'll be
This is, I
fine.
mean, you know.
Dude, I can't even swallow. For
I'm
for my
sorry.
daughter.
I don't mean to laugh. Go ahead.
Okay. For my no, for seriously, for my daughter, I just hope she just thinks of me with pride. Um in in that I was there for her, in that I listened to her, in that I respected her, in that I really appreciated who she is and everything about her. Um, and that I loved her beyond measure. Whew.
What brings
Okay.
you joy?
Oh, my daughter, clearly. Loads of things bring me joy. You bring me joy, Phil.
Thank you.
Yes. Conversations like this bring me such joy. Sharing the love and artistry, and working with good people, working with your friends, just my mom, my house, like just so much, life, fresh air, sunshine, choice. These things bring me great joy. Family. The list is going to continue until
these things. My next question is, what are you grateful for? And all of these things you are grateful for.
Yes, very much so grateful for it. I'm also really, really grateful for art, as a very general thing. It has been the most incredible source of life for me. I know people, I was almost going to say outlet, but and yes, it has definitely been an outlet of creativity. But for me, that's more like getting something like out of your system, like how to do it, outlet, as opposed to like the journey, the life path, and for me, it's always been an incredible source of joy, art. And I'm so grateful that we get to live in a world where we get to choose that, and we get to continue to choose that regularly. And it's all good. It's kind of amazing.
I think for me, there was a point in time in television where they really did tell the human story every week, where the comedy came in the truth of the situation. It was a sitcom because the comedy was in the situation, and it was a real life experience that we found funny. In order for us to, and I've said this 1,000 times probably in these interviews, that I'm a big Norman Lear fan. And one thing that Norman Lear said is that if you can get the audience to endear themselves to the characters, you can make the audience feel whatever you want them to feel. You can make them happy, sad, laugh, cry, angry, whatever it is that you can make them feel that. And I think one of the cool things about what we do is that we have the ability to put those things to paper and to create those situations that people can see themselves. And in that you find the greatest healing, for yourself and for other people.
Yes, for sure. It's that shared human experience that we get to do all the time. Like, you think of other jobs, they don't always get a shared human experience. It's, people on phone doing cold calls, or like office buildings, or, what are the cubicles? I don't even know what they're called.
It's called 8-hour jail, 8-hour detention. That's what it feels like.
Some people have that like all the time, so they don't get that thing that we get so readily. So, like, there's such a resource there for all of us, all the time. I think that was one thing that the pandemic really killed us all on. In terms of art, it was so hard. We were all like, how do we connect now? Like, the connection was severed, and we all took like a couple of beats to try to figure out how to do it virtually, and so on.
Thank God for Clubhouse. Clubhouse helped me. Clubhouse.
Yes.
Clubhouse is. I was working overnight, and Clubhouse, I was sat in some rooms because East Coast time, West Coast time, they're still up.
Yeah.
So I got into some rooms where I spoke to some writers. And they were giving me advice on how not to be married to the script, and because that's all I was doing during the pandemic, was just writing a whole bunch of stuff. And then I switched from writing the scripts to writing pitch decks. So now I know that I would make sure that I secured that under the WGA and make sure that was locked in, because now I have because I was writing scripts, but I was getting too attached to writing, because of course, when you write, it's kind of like giving birth, where, well, not exactly like giving birth, but
that's the thing you're doing, though.
Right. It's like you creating something, and you are getting attached to it, right? But you don't ever want so when it, if you're blessed to have those things picked up, you don't want to feel like somebody's like stealing your child because they're taking it and they're just picking the story apart. You
Right.
know, you want to be able to say, okay, this was the idea, this was the general idea. I want you to take this and then, see what happens after that.
Yeah. See, that's super smart. See how you pivoted?
Yeah.
No, but see, it's like you have to be flexible there. And although you really were enjoying the writing process, you figured, like, this is not going to be the thing that propels me forward now.
Yeah.
So switch it up. But that's how you found that. And that's amazing, man. That's a really good idea. And I might join you on it.
Exactly.
So
That's why I agree with what you were saying. It's like there comes a point where, you start continuing to look at things, well, taking the position of a student, right? No matter what, I'm always a student, ready and open to learn from those people who have gone before me, and because you never stop learning,
well, you really can tell when someone has, can't you?
Yeah.
It's in everything they do. It's in the attitude. It's in all of it. So
They're the ones running in place.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I know I don't want to be there. So I'm always like, I'm always willing to be taught something new, because why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? You might have a way better idea of doing something that I've been doing 1,000 times, breaking my ass doing, and instead here you come, 1, 2, 3, and I was too closed off to hear that,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
Try pitch deck.
Right. And after we finish tonight, I'm gonna send you something to make sure that once you get it and you look at it, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Because let's talk about it, because I like, again, big ideas, like no money. Right? But I just want you to see the vision
that is a great title to something.
Big ideas.
You can't autobiography.
No money.
Sure.
Because man, if I did have the money, then it would be something altogether different. But I don't even think the amount of money that I would want, because I'm always thinking, soundstage, live studio audience. This is the network I wanted to have it on. This is, this is the vision, and it's. And right now we're in the middle of a strike, so I'm still praying that something will happen. An agreement will come, a resolve will come soon, so that we can all get back to work.
Yeah, I really hope that as well. But I haven't heard anything recently. Sometimes it drops off. The communication kind of drops off, and the trickle down of information just like stops coming. But I'm hopeful as well. I think that there's just it has to, man. It has to. Something, something's got to give.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. And shout out to the entire Rella family. I just want to say that, man. I'm telling you, like, I think the last time I spoke, me and Rich had coffee.
I'm so surprised you had me on before him.
I know, but Rich is a hard one to catch up to. I'll see you before I see him. I was like, last time. Shout out to Melissa Center. It's Melissa Center, wonderful actress, wonderful writer. Thank you for joining me, Melissa. I appreciate you. But Rich is hard. Rich was in Staten Island 1 minute, then he moved to Jersey. So I'm like, he's hard to catch up with, man. But like, we actually had a chance to get up and have coffee before COVID.
Oh, nice.
And I was able to see him. And then, I know that you guys had your dad pass, and I remember that, and my heart went out to all of you guys, because I know that was a very big loss.
It was.
But I don't, like I said, I don't connect to people, right? I'm not this nice and friendly to everybody initially.
What? No?
No.
You've always been this way to me.
Because there's a special thing that I have with the Rella family that I just love you guys. I don't know why.
Nobody
I don't know. I can't say. All I can tell you, I'm like, I just love the Rella family. I don't know why.
We love you so much.
Just do.
We love you.
I said, Rich could call me and be like, yo, I need you to come to Jersey to read. Well, I'm in Jersey too, but you know, I know where he is.
Yeah.
But and it'll just be yes. I won't even ask questions. I'll be like, when you want me to come?
Yes, I'm on my way.
That's it.
Aw, that's awesome.
You know, and just continue to keep doing what it is that you're doing. You know, because I think you're doing some great stuff.
Thanks, Phil. That really means a lot. I respect you so much, man. I think you're always right in the game, and I respect that so much. And you're just so positive, and I love you. And I really, really wish I could hug you.
Thank you. Soon, let's try to. Because you're still in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in Staten Island. What?
I don't want to put my business out in the street.
Oh, okay.
But I'll text you.
Staten Island? You said Jersey like it was no big deal. Nobody. I'm coming to Staten Island.
I'm in Bayonne.
I'm so safe. Oh my God.
I was just at the mall.
Stop it. Why are you coming to the Staten Island Mall? This is so funny.
I was just at Macy's.
Why?
Trying to look for a jacket, a blazer that fits.
Oh, all right. Did you find one?
So, no, I didn't win one.
No.
Nah, not yet. I gotta find a cheaper price.
Oh,
huh?
Yeah.
You know, Macy's.
Staten Island Mall used to be like so small. I mean, it wasn't like small, but like small. There was like a JCPenney's, a Sears, a Macy's, and like a bunch of like maybe 10 or 15 stores in between, and the kiosks. And now it's like there's a movie theater, there's restaurants. I mean, it's out there, man. I was real intimidated last time I went. I was like, nope, this is too much. Go home, thanks.
It's growing.
Yeah.
Like
we're seeing
crazy.
But the mall is growing, so there's that.
Yeah. That's why when you said, I was like, what? Get out of here. Yeah, hopefully.
No, they're super close.
Yeah.
You're right over the bridge. Dude.
So we can get together and collaborate.
Dude, let's collaborate.
I got some stuff.
Okay.
I've just been.
Okay.
I've been kind of keeping it because I don't trust nobody. So I keep it to myself until I'm able to say, can I get funding for it? Can I do a reading? Some stuff I've written I haven't really heard out loud yet.
Okay.
So I'm open
to
see what happens.
Let's
and whoever's watching this just got a little taste of a private conversation. So don't tell nobody.
Oh, bro.
Keep it to yourself, you know. But thank you so much for joining me tonight.
So I
truly appreciate it. Love you guys.
Happy. I love you, and thank you so much for this. This was really my pleasure.
Nah, thank you. Truly. Have a blessed one, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
Love you too.